and to bring economic development to our area. I, you know, Councilwoman Costin made an interesting observation about misconceptions. One of those misconceptions that I've heard day after day almost since being on the council in 2006 is the people from the just ordinary citizens walking up and saying, what are you guys doing with that building downtown? As if we own it. As if we can, as if we know what kind of businesses are going in there or being recruited. That has kind of been a concern. This is a test. That has been a concern of mine with the development downtown. That's been a concern of mine with the development downtown. A lot of it is, and I don't say this in any way to disparage or to condemn Wes Hickey, because I think he's a great man and has done great things. But we have really been left out of the loop as far as what's going on with bringing business into that building. We have not been a part of the conversations of knowing who's coming in and who's going out and what's going to be a part of this. We've had to hear rumors and had to respond to those misconceptions time and time again. And, you know, although at the same token, being at a private business, it's really none of our business how they're doing business. So it's kind of a two-edged sword as far as dealing with misconceptions. Mr. Hickey will do and will do very well with getting this building filled, and we'll get businesses brought in here. And he'll do it with a council who's really supportive of economic development, but not just of the core, but of the whole city itself. And so while I understand there will be misconceptions about our actions tonight if this passes, I am willing to side on the side of economic development for the whole city. Thank you.
Rod?
I think still what I'm hearing tonight is that there's still an awful lot of discussion to be had, and I certainly would like to take the recommended action. And I know there's a motion on the floor, but to table this action and have some more discussion with council. I'll move to table it then.
Second. Mr. Shoemaker.
Just briefly, I think this action tonight, not the tabling, but the revocation of the resolution, provides the city of Washougal with flexibility, which it needs to avoid missing opportunities as we have the last couple of years under this resolution. That's what predisposes me to be in favor of it this evening. And I've watched this issue for the last couple of years as a member of the Planning Commission and now as a member of the City Council. It's a very complex issue, and I appreciate that it's difficult for people to come to an agreement on this.
Other comments before we start going to a vote?
I'm also in favor of a revision versus totally repealing the resolution. I see value in our downtown. I see value in the council and the city's commitment to our downtown. And I do see problems with it. It's an outdated document. There are a lot of paragraphs that can be revised and pulled and changed, specifically number 4 on the back, which everyone's already talked about and everything's already been said. But I think if we work on it a little bit, we can expand it to include the city, the entire city, not just the downtown core. And I would like to see more discussion also.
May I just interrupt with that? You know, if we're talking about amending this in some way, you can amend the repeal and pull out the part you're wanting to keep. Does that make sense? I mean, you can make an amendment to a motion. Is that correct? I mean, not right now, obviously, because there's a table on the table. But
I'm still not sure. Are we voting to repeal, or are we voting to?
right now, the
table?
motion is to table it until the workshop.
Okay.
So that's Councilman Morris's
And I
table.
want all you guys to know that I'm taking everything that you're saying into consideration. I just want to make sure that public perception is that
Absolutely.
we're doing it
Mhm,
right.
Absolutely. And my commitment is to the entire city of Washougal, not just to the downtown core, but to also include the downtown core and not to forget those, business owners who have a significant investment, and not just with the city and our expansion and what we've done on Main Street, but they've also spent money to improve their businesses, especially some of the older buildings. And they've gone through a lot through our downtown revitalization. That was quite a bit of time and money and effort, and I don't feel like the city should walk away at this point.
Right.
Okay, we got two motions on the table. The first one is to table the motion for this evening's discussion. I've got a motion by Councilman Morris, seconded by Councilman Greenlee, to table further discussion on this item. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay.
Roll call.
Councilmember Colston.
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker.
Nay.
Councilmember McDaniel.
Aye.
Councilmember Delavar.
No.
Councilmember Greenlee.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Councilmember Russell.
No.
Motion carries. The item is tabled to the next workshop. Yes.
I just have one more comment about tabling this thing. When we went through this in the beginning, to rezone it, and specifically the addresses of the streets that you identified earlier, we went through this over and over because there were things that came up as we went through this process, and we wanted to make it right. And so I remember very distinctly that we went through this same process here, trying to make this thing work right, and it was the right thing 5 years ago. And things change in 5 years. So that's why my concern that we get all four of these council members' concerns back on the table, and we work with Joanne and Planning Commission and get this thing right.
Well, I certainly want to commend Joanne in coming back, and I know she had an opportunity to speak to some of the other council members as well after the workshop. It would be a very fair statement to say that there was no consensus coming out of the workshop of what we were going to do with this, and when she came back and said, oh, we have a thought, it seemed to be the correct thought. Dave?
I understand the concern, but I don't see anything in the flexibility that revoking this resolution would give us that is detrimental to the downtown core. The flexibility applies equally to the downtown core and the rest of the city. So I think this may be a tempest in a teapot. But I guess we're going to take another look at it.
We're going to take another look at it. Okay, second item under old business, Agenda Bill 2910, Wallace Engineering East Street Improvements Project Rescoping. Mr. Evers.
Thank you, Mayor Guard, council members. Essentially, the rescope for the East Street project acknowledges backing out the roundabout at River Road and East Street, and some minor changes at 6th Street, the entrance to the city from the west on the Camas side, and 32nd Street. If you flip to the back, it shows the shifting of approved funds for the project, Universal Field Services specifically, and DKS and Associates. It is a budget-neutral supplemental agreement with Wallace, so there is no budget impact at this point.